Harvey, because we think about getting young people into the space, and there are a couple of at least in Virginia, there's a few risk management programs. Virginia, VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University,
Okay.
has a risk management program. ODU, I believe, has a risk management program, but you don't you don't really hear the exposure for those programs. At least I know I didn't. I believe that program was there when I was at VCU, and I
Okay.
never knew it existed. But we think about the students and kind of getting them into the space, but we don't oftentimes talk about working class, working age individuals who've already had careers in other places, who might be looking for a change, or even have recently retired and looking to do something different. And having that insurance license allows you to be economically viable pretty much at any point, because you can always use that license, right?
Yes. Yes. And that's the real key to that. And that's why I don't let my license lapse. At one point I let it lapse for a few years, which I really, regretted that, because what happened was that I had to retake the test over again and all of that. But the thing of it is that, whether you're 18 years old or you're 70 years old, anywhere within that range or anywhere outside of that, that you're able to legally work and sell insurance. The issue is that post-COVID, we've learned a lot. So people are going into their employers and they're saying, I want to work from home. I don't really want to come back into the office. Well, now every insurance company, whatever industry you're in, they've created a virtual path for you to really be able to sell at home. You don't have to leave your house to make money, which is really a really neat thing, because now in the virtual space, everyone had to, make that move and pivot where they had to do everything, virtually. And so all the companies did that. And people still sold insurance, and they still are making money, in the virtual space. So
that's right. And it is one of those recession-proof businesses. It's something that people will always need to have.
Yes.
In order to function, because it's going to minimize, your liabilities.
So what that means is that you really, you may have a low period, but in this industry, you never can worry about, actually being downsized or laid off. If you're on independent, or if you're doing it on your own. Now, of course, if you're working for a corporate situation, there are always some opportunities for downsizing and layoffs in that vein. But even in that space, if that happens, you have your license, and you can take that and use that in any place you want to. So there's security with the license as well, in my opinion.
That's right. I went if you listen to the audio here, you wouldn't have seen me just throw my hands up when he said, even if you get downside, you still have your license, because it is a resource that's still going to be there for you. Let me ask you. So at this stage, you've been in the business 20 plus years, right? Variety of different roles, and I want you to take me through some of those roles too. But how do you keep your motivation level high, after being in the industry for as long as you have?
So, and this is, again, each individual has to find that thing that causes them to be encouraged and motivated. For me, it's my faith. It's reading books. It's really surrounding myself with people. I wore a T-shirt over the weekend that said, no bad vibes. So I think it's just making sure that we connect with people that will keep us encouraged and motivated. Now, life comes for all of us. So, and in those periods of time where we have a setback or a situation that happens, that's gonna be life. And so, what I would encourage is that even in those setbacks, I've been able to bounce back and to really find my way and stay encouraged and motivated. So I think it's really having a good set of people that are there to support you, even when your setbacks and those things that do happen. And so, yeah, so that's, for me, that's it.
That's awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Take me back through, kind of the chronology, of the career of Harvey Chambers. So we started in healthcare, customer service rep. What was your first sales job in insurance?
Okay, my first sales job was in healthcare. It was the sales and marketing job. It was for the first managed care organization that really started in Richmond, well over 30 plus years ago. And so I handled group insurance. I was what was called a service rep. So the account exec would sell the policy, and then I would service the policy. I had, which is Philip Morris, which is now Altria, Dominion. I serviced some really large accounts, as we would call it in the health insurance industry. And so I stayed in that space up until I got a job working pharmaceutical sales and did sales and marketing through pharmaceuticals. And so now that doesn't require a license. And from that, decided that I wanted to work in the older adult space and started my own business for about 6 years and did an in-home companion service. And did not follow the lead of my CPA. So for all those who are listening, listen to your CPA. So if you decide that you want to go out, listen to your CPA, create another stream of income. But I, did not. And so I actually had to close that business. But what I was able to do is I was able to come back to my health insurance background. Got an opportunity with a company, got licensed in health, and was able to do that. But while I was in that interim, I do need to say that too. I did work for a travel insurance agency, and they have products that require you to be limited P&C, and now they have products that they offer that require you to have your full P&C, even in the travel insurance industry. So did that for a while, and then came back into the health insurance industry. Then I got exposed just about right before COVID, to an opportunity to work in the P&C and the annuities line of business. And so I got my P&C, the annuities license. And again, it was one of those things where the opportunity presented, I took advantage of the opportunity. And so someone would say, well, what do you plan to do with that? I'm not sure, but it's there. And so if I need to tap into that at some point, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, this is something where, now that I have it, for any time in the rest of my life, if I choose to go into that path, it's there and it's available for me. So, yeah.
No, it's awesome. I asked you, kind of to take us through, that journey, because I wanted, people who are thinking about, this career path, who are thinking about getting into this industry, to know, what options are available to them. So you have, servicing rep, where, hey, you may not be the initial person, but you come in and you're going to actually maintain that business. And that's a great way to kind of learn the ins and outs of things, even if you do decide that you want to go out on your own and do something independent later on. Pharmaceutical sales, you mentioned needing some licensing there, and also as a travel agent, having that P&C background, which was necessary for some of those offerings as well at that time.
Well, actually, with the pharmaceutical sales, that does require a license. But I used my sales and marketing skills that I picked up from the health insurance industry to really.
They don't want you to, so you didn't have to be licensed for the pharmaceutical. They just want you to have the degree for pharmaceutical.
They wanted you to have more than a degree.
They want you to have a degree.
They want you to have a degree. But they also wanted you to be able to show that you could build relationships, that you could communicate, that you could actually manage a territory. So there were account management skills that came into place. And those were skills that I picked up actually in the insurance industry. And so, so they did require that. But what's really interesting is that, in some situations, some companies, even if you're in customer service, on the P&C side, they may require you to be licensed. And so what I would encourage anybody who's, let's say they're on the phone and they're licensed, and it's now, now it's time to consider your career path out of that phone call center kind of situation into other opportunities within the company. If that's where you choose to actually track. Some people are real comfortable and real happy right where they are, and they'll take the PNC and they'll have that license, and they'll just say, okay, I just want to stay right here. And so if that's where you feel you want to be, then that's where you stay. But I would encourage individuals that if you've worked hard to pass that test, you passed it, whether it was the first attempt, the second attempt, the thing is now you have it. So why not capitalize on that and look for other career paths that will get you, something even more lucrative? So it's about the money, but it's also about now creating a legacy for your family and for those that come behind you.
Absolutely. And that is, look, that's the most important contribution that, in my opinion, the most important contribution that any of us can make, because, we have a duty to leave the world better than we found it. And
yes,
that, if not through the legacy that we leave behind.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I love, what you're saying. I love the way that you're expressing. I want to talk about personality before, we start to wrap up here. I know that you refer to yourself as more of an extroverted introvert. People who are in this business, they think you just have to go out and just be ready and willing to talk to everybody. Tell me what that means when you say extroverted introvert, and how do you manage that in a business that is so heavily social and relationship driven?
Great. So actually what you do is, and I kind of use this analogy, I flip the light on for the extroverted Harvey to come out and to be engaging and personable and all of that, and I can do that, and really for me, and if anyone kind of Googles extroverted introvert, you'll find that we kind of build on somebody else's energy. So if you put us in a space where there's a high energy person in the room and there's a lot of energy going on, we become that. And so as I was having interactions with my customers or calling on individuals, then I bring that energy into the room, and I do that as the extrovert. And then what happens is that once I get out of that space, the light goes off. And usually if I've had a very, very extroverted day where there's been a lot of energy, a lot of things going on, then I have to come home, and then that's kind of where the light goes off, and then I become the introvert. Or introverted extroverts, when they're in a setting that they're not comfortable with, they don't know a lot of people. We typically don't like to work the room. Where you go to a networking situation, and the protocol is you go visit with someone for a few minutes, and then you excuse yourself, and then you go visit with the next person. And so the extroverted part of me really is always challenged by those networking situations where you have to go around and make all of that contact. I'm usually pretty much settled with one person, two people that I'm comfortable with in those settings. So what has happened over the years, though, is that I have forced and helped myself, really, really become more extroverted and more comfortable in spaces that I didn't typically feel comfortable in. And I think it's also the growth thing, Rod, because, once you get to be a certain age, you kind of go, okay, well, it's okay. And you give yourself permission to do things that you probably a little more guarded with, at a younger age. So, but it is that dichotomy. And I learned that in a training where we talked about these personality types. And so that was, over 30 years ago when, and so I can give speeches publicly, talk to folks. And then after that speech or after that presentation, I can be engaging, but then it's like, okay, I've got to now go to a quiet place.
Yeah.